being concrete is smart right now. And because you're not yet recognized as the thing that you are, and you need to be recognized as the thing that you are, I think, before you can be vague.
Hello and welcome back to Tech and Startups, the premier growth network for technology leaders. Let's get started.
Good. Every time I see you, you're a little more handsome than I remember.
Oh, thanks. You are just as handsome as I remember you, Alex.
I'll take it. Equally handsome as the time before.
Alex has been running the show so far. This is the fourth one we've done.
I'm going to hold my breath.
Damn, guys. All right. You're on a roll.
He's my content creation and interview expert, and he has a better idea of what we're doing here than anyone else. But if he says I should start, I'm going to start. And I'm going to start by saying, hi, Sergey.
Hey, Damien.
And I'm going to, why don't you tell us a bit about yourself and what's going on with you right now? Sure.
I'm a software engineer at Clover Network. I'm on the growth team, so we manage like the front end website and some of the supporting services behind it. We're really moving to like microservices, having a good time with that. And I'm starting a coaching business on the side, something that I see a lot of my coworkers have benefited from just like talking with me, and some of the conversations we've have had a really positive impact on them and the team. So I'm like, well, what would that look like if that was going to expand out past the company I'm employed at?
It's a beautiful idea. So where are you in that process now?
So right now I've incorporated an LLC. I've built out maybe half of a landing page, and then I've been socializing this and talking with people about, well, is coaching something that's interesting for you? What problems could a coach potentially help you solve? Could I potentially be on that journey with you?
Nice. How's the response been?
Somewhat of confusion.
That's informative.
That's informative. It tells me that I get to clear up my message, really clear up who my desired audience is. I've thought about, well, do I want my audience to be folks at a giant enterprise, something like a Google or Amazon? Or do I want it to be mid-sized companies? Does it matter? Do I want to coach engineers? Do I want to coach managers, directors? Do I want to be like, which segment of the market can really benefit a lot from coaching and from getting the on the ground insight of improving developers' productivity, improving engineers doing great work and having fun and being joyful about it.
So I like to come at this from a slightly different area because my experience with coaching tells me that everybody can get huge benefits out of it. So the question I would ask you is, what benefits do you want people to have who work with you, or who are the people you want to work with?
The way I've been approaching it, I'm going to get to your question of who are the people I want to work with. The way I've been approaching it is, well, what's the maximum impact that I can make? So it's not just who do I want to work with. There's millions of really interesting people who are learning and driving forward and being a force for good in the world. And I'm happy to work with them. The qualification is, well, what's the highest impact, what's the most leverage that my coaching could achieve?
I love it.
So, like, who do I want to work with? It's folks who are learning, who are already doing really well. Like they're solid technically, and they're continuously improving. That's a must for someone who's engaging in a coaching relationship. Plus, for me, those are the kinds of people I enjoy being around. like in a way, where I'm structuring not just coaching but also the career I'm at is I want to be surrounded by people who I'm inspired by, who I learn from, and I can contribute something in a coaching relationship to someone else who inspires me. And I think that is a goal I'd be happy to hit, and hopefully serve as another inspiring person for them.
Makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. I want to do a quick context check here because I think I understand the what of this, right? Because we're going to look at the what and the how and the why and all that. So the what is Sergey is an experienced developer and also a person who's experienced in things like communication and self-improvement and growth. That's true, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what you're exploring right now is how you can be a person who benefits through coaching, through speaking, training people in that field to grow the way that you're growing. Is that right?
For sure. Yeah.
And is that I guess what I'm trying to figure out is you also have a full-time job that you're doing, right? Mm-hmm. And I want to make sure, first of all, that the thing you'd like to explore together a little bit is the coaching aspect, right? Not the full-time job aspect. Is that true? Am I off the mark? Because I'm off the mark a lot, and I don't mind being redirected.
I'd enjoy exploring either. Okay. Coaching would be,
What's your favorite?
Higher impact. Yeah.
Impact's good, right? Higher impact. I like that. I like the way to think about that. Cool. And then when you're thinking about you start to say what you're doing right now, which is you're socializing, you're chatting with people about this thing that you're up to. You're exploring the options of audience. Would this be directors? Would this be we call them individual contributors? The people who aren't managers are often called individual contributors. And you're building a landing page which allow people to come find you in some kind of way if they're searching for a coach. Cool.
Yeah.
And so when you're thinking about the thing that's between you and doing the coaching, what are you imagining is between you at point A and point, I'm not going to say Z, but let's say point like D or something. Of doing the coaching, what's between now and then, do you think?
There's a few business related formalities I get to finish up. There's finishing that landing page or getting it into a place where I'm happy to show it to people and start iterating and getting traffic. And then there's some testing of, well, what kind of traffic is, like if I'm using Google AdWords or LinkedIn ads or whatever paid traffic, then I get to test what a landing page looks like, what generates responses. It kind of parallels what I'm working on in terms of work-wise. It's, well, how can I help people to really get the message and find what's valuable for them in my services?
Yeah, I have a thought on that, because as I hear you talk, I think one thing I'm hearing you saying is, I, Sergey, am familiar with digital marketing. You know what A/B testing is, to the point that you conceptually understand it. So you're talking in the terms of A/B testing. I'm going to have a landing page. I'm going to get ads in places. I don't know where yet, but I'm going to put ads in places, and people are going to hopefully click on them and then click on more things and click on more things and then finally talk to me. That's called a funnel. You know that. I'm not saying it to you because you don't know. I'm just saying aloud. That's what that is. Yeah. We all know that. And so you're thinking the next step is, I want to make a digital funnel, which will eventually lead people to me so that I can do the coaching. Sure. I have a question for you then. Can we together imagine a way that you can do the coaching before there's a funnel?
Like already I have been tossing around the idea of coaching for free at work. So turning have my idea already into I'm already informally talking with people about, hey, what's your goals? How are you doing? What are you enjoying about doing this? What's the opportunities to grow? And formalize it a little bit.
Oh, I like that.
So
I like that. Can I tell you why that
possible.
resonates with me?
Go for it.
Okay, I love that. Well, that really resonates with me because it's actually how I shifted career titles. I made a big shift in my career title that way. It wasn't as a coach. I started out in the Valley, in Silicon Valley, San Francisco Bay Area, as a business analyst. And so I was doing business analyst work, working with developers, looking at things that our clients wanted to do and business stakeholders wanted to see how we can do it. I don't want to get into what that is. Doesn't matter. Point is, I looked across the floor and I saw these people called product managers, and I was like, what are these guys they seem really interesting. What are they doing? And I started to talk with them. I was like, what are you doing over here? And they would tell me, and I would have lunch with them, stuff like that. But I started begging for work. I started asking, I said, what can I do for you? What kind of work? What are you working on right now? What do you need done? What can I help you? And so I do my normal job responsibilities, but then I beg for work. I said, give me something to do. Well, eventually one guy, I don't know if he liked me or he just got sick of seeing me. He gave me some work. He gave me a little bit. I picked it up. I did it right away. I did it well. I did it fast. I brought it back. Here's the work. Where's some more? Give me some more. I said, okay, here's some more. Here's some more. That happened for about 6 months until he just used me as a resource. My manager was not aware of it at first, but then was, and he was like, well, you're getting your work done, so fine. A year later, and it did take a year. It doesn't have to take a year, but it reasonably took a year. A year later, they shifted me to that team. Everyone thought I already was on the team. I was recruited by the guy I originally started working for. I was recruited to the team. It became my formal position. I was formally a product manager. So I love that thinking of, hey, why don't we just start doing it informally, right where you're at, right in the seat that you're at. Because I want to step out and say too, the meta thing. The first meta thing is just start doing the thing until people think that's what you are. And the other thing is be in the building. And I was already in the building where that stuff was happening or could happen. You're already in the building where that stuff could be happening, where coaching could be happening. And you not suddenly, but 6 months to a year later, you start to build a reputation. And so people were like, oh, that's the product manager, what I was not yet. But when people are calling you the thing, you become the thing, and you just transition to the thing pretty naturally. So, and that's not saying, oh, don't do digital marketing, don't do the A/B test, don't do the landing page. It's saying, cool, do that. But gosh, you're already in a seat. You're in the seat right now that you can be doing this and start building a reputation and formalizing what you are. I'm repeating back to you what you already said, and I'm using so many more words than are necessary. You said it. I'm just embellishing.
This is really, really valuable to me. So I'm going to ask you both a question here. What does this look like in this situation? What are the concrete steps and the physical manifestation of this path towards becoming a coach?
And Sergey is the expert, so really he has the answers to that.
I'm just on the path learning like you guys. We're all on this journey together, figuring stuff out slowly but surely. Appreciate you. But how does that look? If those steps exist, are you asking
Alex said you're the expert, so I'm going to ask you. And you've already named a step, which is you're doing coaching for as part of your job now, and you said the first step is making that a little more formal. So what does that mean? How do you know it's a little bit more formalized?
Well, no, I think I'm willing to do this, but I want to suggest that Sergey knows the answer already. So and even before the formal, like what can you do tomorrow?
Sure. Tomorrow or
this week or whatever.
Sure. Like I can probably reach out and I already pair with folks on my team, and that's great. They benefit a lot from it, and I have fun doing it too. And having a more regular schedule of that, being more proactive in reaching out to pair to knowledge share, to involve the team and not be kind of each of us sitting alone in our corner of the world. That could be super useful. The open question in my head is around, well, coach isn't usually a title that I've seen at a organization. Or if there is a coach, usually it's a scrum master, and that's not exactly the role I'm looking for. I'd imagine that provides some sort of unique value there, which might be different than conventional roles, especially as defined currently. What do you guys think about defining new roles in organizations?
I have a great answer here, and I learned this from Sandy Metz
From
and her object-oriented design workshop. The thing is named.
That's the comic book guy.
Which comic? The thing is named after what it does. So literally, as part of this workshop, we had these methods we wanted to call. We didn't know what we wanted to call them on. Forgive everybody who's not the three of us and deeply involved in tech for this metaphor. But we had these functions that we wanted something to do. We didn't know what the thing was. But after we defined these like 3 or 4 functions, and we have a clear understanding of what these functions are, now we know what the thing is. And we can give it whatever name we want, but it'd be based on what these functions are. Yes. So I think this is entirely analogous. That Facebook had a coach for developers, but it is rare. So what is it that you do for people? What do they come to you for? What do they ask you for? What are those functions? And then collect those and then say, okay, what name would they give to the thing that does those functions?
I agree. And I would add also that it doesn't matter. I mean, I totally agree because that's my story too, is I was doing product manager things. And so people started calling me a product manager before I was a product manager. So yes, 100% agree with Damien, and it doesn't matter. It just can become a function of your role that you're known for, and you're asked to do it again and again and again. Mm-hmm. No one ever has to call you a coach formally. They just keep inviting you to do these things that are like coaching, that are like leading, that are like, and I'm going to add this because I have some thoughts on it I want to add later, that are like facilitating, because I have some thoughts for you around that. But before I do, what else can you do, Sergey? So good. So you asked a question. We played with that question. Are you satisfied with that for the moment? Question is, I've never heard of a coach. Can I still do coaching? And the answer, I think, is yes. Do you feel satisfied that that's true for the moment?
Yeah, that'll work.
we can hold it for now and see if it's true later. So giving that, so we'll put that to the side, but let's get back to what can you do tomorrow, next week to start being this thing without not someone formally calling you this thing.
Sure.
How can you start being the thing that will have a function? How can you start being that function so you get the title later?
Yeah. Yeah, and maybe the title doesn't even exist yet, at least at this org. So the question might be, well, what would I as a coach do? That's a good thing to probably define. I'd assume that there might be conversations that happen around on a cadence, like weekly or bi-weekly or something, with individuals on their goals, on their aspirations, commitments, on the progress they're making towards things that are important to them in the organization. Mm-hmm. So at the very least, I could make space for that. So there's a calendar, a Google Calendar thing where you can say, oh, make an appointment.
Yes.
Like, oh, hey. And then just open up like a few half-hour slots at the end of my Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays. Be like, all right, well, if anyone wants to talk goals, talk how we're improving the team, I'm an open ear and willing co-conspirator.
Yeah. Yes, man. You touched on something that I wanted to suggest, and then you did it one better. And so the thing I wanted to suggest involved opening up calendar spacing, opening up some time to do something. And I want to highlight this. I have a couple ideas for you, but I want to highlight this one that you said, which is I'm your willing co-conspirator. So as you're socializing, talking, someone says, I have a mission I want to be on. Why don't we have this feature? Why don't we as a practice do unit testing among our developers? Why don't we do this? And you go, oh, wow, that's fascinating. That sounds like you have a mission. Would you like, how can I support you on that mission that you have?
Yeah.
How can I lift you up in that? How can I make it so that you are the champion of that? How can I support you in your championness of that cause? So that, I mean, I didn't think again, you said the thing, I'm just using a lot of words to explain it. So that idea of a co-conspirator is really powerful. I want to sit with that I have an idea. I have a different idea, but I want to just like.
It's something that my manager, I really appreciate him for this, is that in our one-on-ones, he really helped me by like, I had a crazy idea. He was like, yeah, go for it. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Okay, sure, I'll go for it.
Yeah.
And
you would add, go for it. And let me talk to you about how you could communicate that idea with your manager. Or let me talk about how I can help you find, you might not be the right person to by hand do it, but let me tell you how I can recruit more people to your mission that you're on. Let me tell you how can I be your co-conspirator? I love that. That's so cool. Gosh, I had another idea, but I don't know. Is it even worth sharing? Because this one's so good. I don't want to dilute the waters here. I don't know. Damien, what do you think?
All your ideas are good. I mean, let's throw one more in. We won't lose the good we have by adding a little bit more.
One more, and just in case, this co-conspirator thing, just in case you can't find someone on the mission right away. So scheduling, something like that, scheduling time, I don't want you to hone in on the brown bag lunch idea. That's not it. But the idea would be, is there a way that you can facilitate the learning of something along with others? You can invite people to learn along with you and be the facilitator of something, which would open up opportunity for coaching, right? So an example is I used to do lean workshops, lean startup workshops. And so it'd be, during or after the kind of lunchtime hour, somewhere around 1 to 2, or it could even be at the end of the day. I'd say, hey, I'm reading the Lean Startup, and not only are we reading Lean Startup, but we're going to do an A/B testing webpage. And I, this is a little extra. You don't have to do this, but I went and asked my manager for $500 as a budget to let people use this AdWords money. And so we had a Lean Startup book club as well as a Lean Startup experiment, and I led people through it. I only had to do a week at a time. But now I'm the Lean Startup guy, and when people have questions about a topic relevant to us, I'm coaching them. Really what I'm doing is I'm just pulling, the chapter we read that at least one of us in this conversation read, suggests that the answer to your problem might be something like this. And so now it's not exactly the same as coaching, but it opens this door, right, where I'm facilitating the growth of our team, of team members who opt into it. I'm facilitating the growth of our team. So now I'm at least seen as that, as a facilitator of growth. Mm-hmm. And then when people start asking me questions about what we're learning together, because I'm seen as the facilitator, I'm seen as the leader, that gives me an opportunity to say, well, what is your mission? How can I be your co-conspirator? So it opens up this door, and it's a lighter way. So it's not trying to be like, I'm the coach now, which can feel however it feels. Wow, how can you coach me because we're at the peer level or yada yada, whatever. You don't have to use that word anymore. It's I'm excited to facilitate our growth mm-hmm. together. And so would you like to grow alongside me? And that might open it up. So I'm not saying it's a book club necessarily. It could be everyone needs to learn. I'm not good at this, Damien, you can help me out. But everyone needs to learn like this element of JSON or like of a certain kind of API query language, right? Pull request. I don't know. But we're seeing a need to grow for the team, the small group to grow in this area. I'd love to facilitate that education. So I'm going to be doing it for myself. Can I invite you to join me in it? That could be an interesting way to start today or tomorrow.
There's a running theme in here, like it's be the thing. You're a coach, be the coach. Be the coach with people, and then now you're the coach. And so we talked about 3, I think, very concrete ways of doing that, which were hugely valuable to me. I think we're close to time. So let's see, like, what are the next steps, Sergey? What are the next steps that you're going to take?
Can I add one before we do that? I just want to add one more thought, and that's sorry. Can you visualize what this doing something like this today looks like a year or 2 years down, when you're starting to be invited, when you become the de facto person and you start to be invited to be the coach, and that becomes your title, or you take that to some other company, or you take that to your next client who found you through your A/B testing landing page, and now you can start saying, oh, and they say, well, what's your credentials? And you're like, well, actually, I've been facilitating the growth of developers and engineers and managers for the last year, 6 months or year, in this sort of way. And you have these stories to tell.
Oh, stories to tell. That's, I mean, that's fun. It's a great way to connect with people.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I can see that. I'd imagine that as people find more and more value in, talking with me about their goals and improving the organization, maybe more and more of my calendar is just going to be conversations. It's just like, oh, I'm talking with Sergey at this time. Oh, talking with this other person here, and just like,
well,
have I don't know, half of my hours just being talking to people. Oh, that's fun. Or pairing with people. That's also fun. Until my workday sparks even more joy than it does now.
That's so great. Like, Sergey, I've known you for a very long time, and so I know how joyous that. But we can also see it in your face right now, that vision brings you so much joy.
So Damien had a question. I'm sorry I cut you off, Damien. Damien, you had a question, and that's
I mean, I was following. It's your show, Alex. And I'm trying to do what you've been doing, which is like, okay, we've been doing this for 20 or 30 minutes. What are the next steps? What are you going to do now?
Calendar. Schedule it. Schedule some things. Schedule some brainstorming time, or I don't know what to call it. It's not going to be coaching time. It'll just be like ideation time or something like that, and post about in our team Slack channel. Be like, hey, or probably write a little bit of copy onto the calendar invite. Be like, well, this is what Sergey's like. Join Sergey for talking about interesting ideas.
Yeah.
And revolutionizing the workplace.
I love it, and I'm going to see how I can apply this idea to my business.
Yeah, I want to make a suggestion if I could, and that's that. So at the moment, what you're suggesting is really, really open, and I think there will be a point where that will make the most sense in the world, because people will know you as what they've seen you do, which is, gosh, I have this thing, I don't know how to get it off the ground, or I have this change I want to make in my career, and I know that I have a resource in Sergey to do it already.
Yeah.
But I think there's gonna be a time when that makes just the most sense in the world. I think at this moment it might make sense to get a little more specific, and here's how I would suggest you do it. And there's an A and a B. Maybe it's an A/B test. The A is to go just book appointments with people, or just have time, even if it's casual time, with people you're already talking with, and just like talk to them about what they think how they'd like to contribute more in the company in a way that's kind of different than their role is. I have this feature I think should be built. I want my title to change, whatever it is, and see how you can support them and offer them support, and see how you can enroll them in accepting it. So that's A. A is go out, talk to the people one-on-one, make friends, see how you can lift them up. A. B is pick a very specific thing that you know that your team is itching to grow in, and their knowledge and competency. And like I said, I don't know what that is. It could be public speaking. It could be an API protocol. It could be using Docker. I don't know what it is, right? But it could be building prototypes, like lean startup style, like building prototypes, or doing patents. I don't know what it is. You know what it is. Or have you talked to your manager about what does the manager wish her team would grow in? You could ask that question, and then go, okay, how would we learn about that? And maybe it's reading a book, taking a Udemy course, whatever that might be. And so that's your B, is to find something that you can be the facilitator of team growth in. So A is talk to people, figure out how you can support them in a mission that's maybe a little outside their normal job duties. B is figure out what your team is itching to grow in. They're itching to grow in something. They are. At least 3 or 4 people are they're all on the same boat and they wish they understood this thing better, whatever it is. And you too, and be the person who goes and chooses the book, chooses the Udemy course, chooses the whatever, and sets the pace. Every week we're going to have read this many pages and we're going to meet Tuesday at 3:00 or whatever it is. And I feel like that being concrete is smart right now. And because you're not yet recognized as the thing that you are, and you need to be recognized as the thing that you are, I think, before you can be vague.
All right.
That's my proposal.
Thank you. I'll consider it and see how it fits in. See what I can play around with. So yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, dude, whatever we say, like, you have to live with you. So I'm not going to be hurt if you go in a totally different direction, because I don't have to live with you 24 hours in your head, right? You do. So do what's right for you.
Yeah, I know we're run up on time, so want to be respectful of everyone's time. Yeah. And thank you guys for making time, talking with me, and helping ideate on some goals. Yeah, a little wiggle.
Oh yeah, I have words for it. Thank you for joining us, Sergey, and for inviting us on this exploration with you. For the people who didn't get to see the wiggle dance.
Alex also participated.
I did.
It was marvelous.
Damien, I didn't see you wiggle. Do you not want to? Okay, we're all going to remember this, that you declined to wiggle. Well, what a great note to end on.
All right. Thanks again, Sergey.
Thanks, Sergey.
Fun.
My pleasure.
All right, see you, man.
We've gotten some fantastic insights on strengthening your team. But what about other ways you can strengthen your team? I've assembled an 8-page guide on the 4 quadrants of strengthening your team with key insights from more than 11 veteran tech team leaders. To get yours, grab the link below this video. I'm so glad you joined us today. If this video was helpful, give it a like. Go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell so that tech and startup videos continue to show up in your feed. I'll see you in the other videos.